morning. Recently, Susan and I were able to do a trip to New Zealand. It was a version of one planned in 2020 before everything was locked down and not possible. We began down south in Queenstown, in that beautiful place, just marvelling in the beauty, in the wonder of this place. Mountain lakes and mountains and mist and clouds and sunshine and just beauty. And we travelled down to Tianu, further down, near the Fiordlands, and then did a trip to Milford Sound, and on the day, grey clouds, ominous, and mist and cloud, and these rising cliff faces, brilliant and beautiful and majestic. It was just stunning. One morning around Tianu was not too early, but the sun was still low in the sky, and we walked around the lake, and the lake was just cast in mist and this brilliant white clouds sitting on the lake, and behind it the mountains and mist and clouds around the mountains. And it was this blue hue right across the lake with the sunlight filtering through in different places to create a more gold and tangerine colour. It was just stunning. And then as we walked, there was this jetty that went out maybe 30, 40 metres out into the lake. And I stood at the end of the jetty and looked out. And it was just beautiful. Took photos, the photos you can see. And as I reflected on those photos later, this jetty became like a bridge to somewhere. I'm on a bridge to somewhere, a future I cannot dream. With each step I rise into sunlit skies of mauve and tangerine. Beneath my feet the colours dance across the silky sea. Where I go I do not know. Through clouds of mystery. That was the sense that I had of this bridge into the future, into somewhere, into the mountains, into the mystery, into the clouds. The future, the life and the road that I would take. Unknown, uncertain, unsure. And though I like to feel at times I'm in control, there are significant moments when I realise I'm not. And the future is uncertain and unknown. And I travel. That's the journey of life. And this bridge into the future became kind of a metaphor. It's become a metaphor for me of the spiritual journey and the journey of life. We don't know where we're going. Sometimes we think we do. And sometimes we're clear about where we're going. On our trip in New Zealand, we travelled by car. We travelled the full length of the South Island almost, from Tianu down the south up to Picton in the north. And each of the points was plotted out on our journey. We had places to stay and to get to. We knew this day we had to travel from here to here. We had various maps and Google Maps in the car that guided us and showed us the way. But even though I knew I was going from here to here and this is the road I'd take and that's what it looked like on a map, I didn't know where I was going. I didn't know what I would find. We didn't know what to expect. The future, the journey unfolded before us. And every turn and twist in these mountainous roads led to stunning views of mountain ranges or deep and wondrous valleys of mountain lakes and rivers. It was just beautiful and stunning. Every turn was another photographic opportunity for me. We didn't know what we'd find or where we'd end up. And I think that's a lot like life. We think we're going in this direction, but we're not clear. It becomes a mystery, a wondrous mystery. And that's what this bridge or this jetty is a metaphor for me. It's a metaphor of journeying into the unknown and of listening for the voice that will guide me. The voice amidst the multitude of voices that might direct me to the right place. And this week in Luke's story, it's from his second book, Acts. We're following the journeys of Paul, and a few weeks ago we reflected on his story, his loss of story. Paul had this dream, this vision of ridding the world of these horrid Christians, treasonous, treacherous, blasphemous people people spreading lies and leading people in the wrong directions and disturbing God's own stories and message. And he wanted to rid the world of them. But the trouble was, on his journey to do that, he saw a blinding light and a voice. And that voice, with one question, negated his whole story. The story that Jesus was dead and everything around him was a lie. He experienced this risen Christ, and his story was negated. And he had to learn a new story that would form his life and give him a new direction. It was a story in cruciform shape around this Christ who dies and rises and dies, and the death and rising, the dying, rising life. And Paul finds within himself a new story and a new dream, and he follows that dream. And in this story this week, he's journeying through Asia, and he comes to the sea. And he doesn't know which direction. Does he go left or right? East or west? He can't go any further because it's water. And he's pondering this through the night and finally goes to sleep, not sure which way to take the next day. And in his sleep he has a dream, a really vivid dream, of a man calling him across the sea to Macedonia, to Greece. Come and bring your message to us. It's so vivid in the morning he recalls it, and it's so real that he understands he's heard the voice, a voice of spirit calling him. So he and his companions get on a boat and sail over and travel down to Philippi, this central city in this region of Macedonia. And he searches around for the man behind the voice, but he can't find him. And so he goes down to a place where he believes people will gather to pray. And there encounters a woman, Lydia. Her family deal in fine cloth, purple cloth, expensive cloth. And she's there to pray, a very religious, faithful person, God-fearing. And Paul sits down and talks and shares his story. And she believes. She's captured by his story, his living, dying story, his dying, living, his story of transformation. And she and her household are baptised. And then she says to him, if you've found any faith in me, if you find me worthy, come and stay in our house. In other words, teach us more, help us. And Paul does. And I guess that's the beginning of the church in Philippi. But for Paul, it was following this dream, this voice in the dream. And I wonder what voice, what dream we have that we follow or don't. There's a story of a couple who went to the theatre and they're sitting there in the front row, Man of La Mancha's playing, it's wondrous. And all of a sudden the husband is distracted by the woman next to her. She's whispering very hushed tones, but not so hushed that he can't understand her. She's nudging her husband and saying, shh, 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 you're embarrassing me, shh, shh. And he surreptitiously leans forward and glances out the corner of his eye. And he sees this man, this older man in lovely clothes, crying uncontrollably, sobbing. And the wife, shut up, shh, shh. And suddenly, why is he crying? And he turns back, and there on the screen, on the stage, is this man singing to dream the impossible dream, to fight the unfightable foe, to go where no one has gone before, you know. And suddenly he understands. This man is hearing the song and realising that he's lost his dream. The dream he had is gone. Being distracted and lost in the chaos of life and other things that come his way, he's lost his dream, his story, and he feels lost and sad, uncontrollably sad. And I wonder if that's like most of us. We get distracted on our journeys and we lose our way. For Susan and I on that trip, there were times when even following Google Maps and having them say turn left and right, I got lost. I turned this street, not that street, and I'm looking around trying to make sense of the instructions, follow where I'm going, not knowing where I am. And I take a wrong turn, and we've got to find our way back. Sometimes the beauty and the wonder were so distracting, we walked and followed this path, not that path, and had to find our way back. We were taken in different directions, and sometimes something captivated us so much that we just had to follow, and we were filled with awe and wonder. And I think these are metaphors in our life, that Paul heard this dream and followed it, despite it being illogical and unreasonable. He followed the dream and found the woman who heard the story and whose life was changed. What is our dream? What is the voice we listen to? Is it one of love, of justice, of hope, peace? Just in the last couple of weeks, the Catholic Church, the cardinals have had their conclave. And together they've listened and tried to discern the voice. Who to elect as a pope? Who will lead us? And I guess in that conclave there are multitude voices. There's political and theological and psychological and cultural and all sorts of things about the church and the diversity of people there, just in that conclave. And they hope and pray together they listen to the one true voice that will lead them to one person who can bring love, compassion, wisdom and justice to their church and maybe have an influence in the world. What is the voice we listen to? What is the dream we have? And will we follow? I'm at a bridge to somewhere, a future I cannot dream. With each step I rise through sunlit skies of mauve and tangerine. Beneath my feet the colours dance across a silky sea. Where I go I do not know, through clouds of mystery. I'm on my somewhere bridge, meandering my way along. I pause and stare, suddenly aware I don't know the words to my song. I can't sing the song of sunrise, nor the tune to guide my day. I search around for a sight or a sound, something to reveal my way. I'm on my mystery bridge. I'm lost and losing control. Feeling naked and raw and no longer sure of the story to feed my soul. I continue on to I don't know where, letting go and drifting along. In faith's embrace, I surrender to grace as I yearn for the Spirit's song. I'm on a bridge to somewhere, a future I cannot dream. I'm loosing control to release my soul into the Spirit's living stream. The journey I'm on is one of descent through the shadows of darkness, of pain. Then beyond chaos and strife I rise to new life, to start my journey again. The bridge is the journey of faith, a journey into the vast unknown, a releasing of self, a surrender to death, and the fear of being alone. On the bridge my old story is lost, a new one forms in my soul, a cruciform song, soft and strong, of a love to grow me whole. What is your somewhere bridge? What is your dream? What is the voice you hear? Is it the voice of love and hope?